Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to be going over getting started with Python and Jupyter Notebooks. So again, as we mentioned in the previous video, we recommend using the Anaconda Python distribution, although if you already have another Python installation, you can use that. But this one just makes it really easy to use Python and Jupyter Notebook. So again, we want to go to anaconda.org, download Anaconda, and then click on download for the individual edition and install it for Windows or Mac, or if you're using Linux, install it for that. And once that's installed, then we'll have Anaconda. We'll have a few Anaconda menu items available in our start menu, or in your, if you're on Mac, I recommend using Spotlight, or you can also just click on your applications folder in Mac. But let's go ahead and open up this Anaconda Navigator. It'll take a minute to start and it'll pop open a bunch of these terminal windows as it's starting things. Take a minute here. This will allow us to easily run Jupyter Notebook and other tools through Anaconda and also install other things. But again, it is a little bit slow to start up. Just give it a second here. Maybe grab a cup of coffee. It's pretty much always very slow to start up like that, which is why I actually don't use this method very often, but it is an easy way to do it if you're a beginner, so you can always use it. So you'll see once this opens up that it's got a menu of a bunch of different items here. And what we're interested in right now is the Jupyter Notebook item. It looks like it froze for me. That's good. Okay, so I clicked on the launch for Jupyter Notebook. I think it worked. Just takes a second here to start up Jupyter Notebook. So this is a tool that data scientists use because it allows us to easily run code and save the output and share it with others. And you'll see a ton of different Jupyter Notebook tools out there. There's Google Colab. There are Kaggle kernels, and probably several other tools out there. These all basically run a Jupyter Notebook on the cloud. The Google Colab and the Kaggle kernels are free, so those are another tool you can potentially use. But it is also nice to be able to run it locally to test things because it's usually a little bit more responsive and faster. So once we've got this Jupyter Notebook thing open, you'll see that it just opens to our home directory. So I'm going to go into my GitHub folder where I have the Jupyter Notebook, but from the course world-class shell here, you'll see the crash course Jupyter Notebook. So you can go ahead and download that. And then we're going to open up that. So find that wherever you downloaded it in your folders here. Let's see. So for me, it's here. Go ahead and click on that icon. And then that's going to open up that Jupyter Notebook. And it should look something like this once it gets loaded. So, so you see something like this. So we've got the introduction reading list, which is the reading list for week 1 of MSDS 600, in case you want to get an early start on that. Then an outline of what we're going to cover, and the first section here. So that's getting started with Jupyter Notebook there the easy way. You can stick around if you want to see some other ways to run Jupyter Notebook. So other ways, we can also run Jupyter Lab, which is a very similar interface to Jupyter Notebook, except it's a little bit more extensive. So Jupyter Lab has a few more tools. So it's got a file browser. You can edit text files in here. You can run command terminals, things like that. So got the file browser here on the left, similar to what it looked like for Jupyter Notebook. And again, if we want to open it up, we just can double click this thing here. We can also create new notebooks from here or other new files. Also, if you're in this Jupyter Notebook interface, you can create a new notebook from here. So Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook works. And another couple ways are to use a command prompt. So you can launch the command prompt from Anaconda Navigator. On Mac, I think this will be called Terminal for you. So, or Linux, it's called Terminal. And it looks something like this. So then you can see it puts us into our home directory. We can change directory with CD, that moves into a folder. And then if we want to go up one folder, we can do CD dot dot. So you can move around like that. If you're in anything except for a command prompt, you can use ls to list files, or dir will list the files in a command prompt here. And of course, we can also open that up from the start menu, as I showed before. So you just type CMD for the command prompt, opens it up there. If we checked add the path when we installed Anaconda, we'll have Python available here. We'll also have, and then, the way to exit that is to type exit with parentheses. We can also, run IPython, which is interactive Python. So we can run code in here and things like that. And then the other thing in Windows besides the command prompt are PowerShell prompts. PowerShell prompts, so we can run that from Anaconda Navigator, or we can run it from the start menu here. So actually, if we type Anaconda, we'll see we have Anaconda prompt, Anaconda PowerShell prompt. So we can run those, and those give us our Anaconda environment by default. So that's like the same as running it from here. And so one thing you'll notice about this is when we run it, you'll see this base in parentheses here on the left, and that's our environment. So you can make a bunch of different environments which have different packages and versions of Python installed. So I've got a whole bunch of different ones here, and then you can change between them and run different code with different versions of software. So that's a nice feature of Anaconda. So those are the, and then so once we have those open, let me Anaconda PowerShell prompt. One other in Windows that I like to use is the Windows terminal. Personally, I like it a little bit better. You can have multiple tabs, things like that. I think in Mac, the default terminal works fine. So once we have one of these open, we can type Jupyter Notebook, and that will, let's see if we have the, I don't have the Python crash course in this folder. So a nice kind of little trick here is called tab auto-completion. You start typing the name of a folder and then hit the tab key, and it auto-completes a file path or file name if it's partially typed out. So to open up this Jupyter Notebook file, we can do Jupyter Notebook, type those two words with the space in between and then the file name, and it will open up that Jupyter Notebook in our browser. So those are some different ways to run Jupyter Notebooks. Again, the easiest if you're just starting out is to use Anaconda Navigator and just launch Jupyter Notebook from there. But as you progress, you might want to use some of these other methods. So that's all for this video, and I hope it was helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.